4 years ago, I was drinking myself to death. Today, I became a reverend. This is not the path that I saw coming, but once it did, I decided to see where it would lead. Stay tuned to the end, and we're going to pull a tarot card together.
Welcome to the Reverend Jane Garrity podcast. I'm Reverend Jane Garrity, and I'm so glad you're here. This is a place for healing, honest conversations, spiritual exploration, and remembering who we truly are. So, wherever you are today, take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jane, Reverend Jane Garrity, and today I'm sharing something deeply personal. It's not just the announcement that I have become ordained. It is the story of how healing, sobriety, and psychic development, and a lot of surrender have brought me to somewhere I never imagined that I would be. If you've ever felt like life completely changed the direction that you thought you were headed, I think you'll relate to this conversation. 4 years ago, I didn't think I was going to survive my own life. Today, I became a reverend. If you had told me then that this is where my healing journey would have led, I would have never believed you. I've spent the last 3 years studying at the Boulder Psychic Institute through the Church of Divine Light. During this time, I have dedicated myself to expanding my psychic and spiritual development through education and practice by completing hundreds of hours of psychic readings and healings. It has been a roller coaster of evolution and awakening, filled with gnarly growth periods, profound grief, and immense joy, and moments of deep clarity. It's been a wild journey that has brought me to this exciting new chapter of my life. During that low point, I was a highly functioning alcoholic and in the cycles of my own pain and suffering, and I was on the brink of losing my second marriage. I had reached a point where I didn't want to live anymore. I choked out the words to my husband. I said, I need to quit drinking. I need to go to therapy, and I have to do this for me and me only. So I quit drinking. I began intensive trauma and addiction therapy, and I started the long journey of healing. At the same time, I was also entering a psychic awakening, although I wasn't sure that's what it was. I had suspected it intuitively, but there were times where I thought I was losing my mind. I would see people that weren't physically there. I would see animals out of the corner of my eye, hear whispers in my ear, and so many more experiences. It felt scary at first. I definitely had fear. But instead of running from it, I learned my intuition was telling me to lean into it. So I did. Turns out the people that I was seeing were my ancestors, spirit guides, totems, and they were telling me that if I didn't quit drinking then, I never would. My guides then began pushing me towards finding a teacher. So I followed my intuitive nudges. I found some fakes and phonies until I finally found the teacher in school that was right for me. Becoming a spiritualist minister was most certainly not the path I ever thought in this lifetime that I would ever be on. But here I am, stepping into a new vocation, like a toddler learning to walk. Some people will say it's a calling. What I will say is that the universe has a funny way of showing you the path, but then we have to have the willingness and determination and curiosity to step onto it. And then once we get onto it, maybe we'll keep going. During this time, I've experienced deep inner healing. I've learned the truth about my complex trauma, which is abandonment, which showed me the path to healing myself, which has led me to also helping others. During these last 4 years, I've experienced consistent, catastrophic losses, the endless shedding of false identities, and learning how to step into and remembering my personal truth. One wisdom I can share is that the experience of healing complex trauma rooted in abandonment is that it is a journey, with no destination, a journey that I'm still on. I've spent 2026 so far in a deep spiritual healing space, learning ritual, writing ceremony, and overall deepening my personal psychic practice and skills. I've also been learning how to choose myself, prioritize myself, especially when I found those old patterns resurfacing and when it felt hard. This most recent gift of time has given me the space to marinate in the thought of what my personal ministry is and what being a reverend means to me. And it's not your grandmother's ministry. I grew up a religious rebel, questioning Catholic doctrine, refusing to memorize scripture, and always finding ways to bend the rules. My mother would say, just believe in the parts that make sense to you. That answer left an impression on me then, and it still does today. I've always been grateful that she taught me this. Her perspective, which is take what resonates and leave the rest, has allowed me to have many experiences in my life with different religions, and it's led me to find this path to spirituality following the what made sense to me notion. That resonance has ebbed and flowed throughout my life, but the same golden thread has always been there, just waiting for me to pick it up and begin sewing the pieces of my personal puzzle together like a web of fate and destiny. To me, ministry isn't something that comes in a book or one that's filled with a set of rules, regulations, or rigid systems that have been built in shame, fear, hellfire. My ministry is not based in doctrine or worship, but in spirituality, autonomy, and freedom. I also believe that ministry is about the giving of ourselves and our unique offerings that come from our heart and our creative space, and to use them to serve others in ways that fosters healthy communities by connecting humanity through our connection with our own divinity. Some call it a mission, others call it a service. I am calling it inner heart healing ministry. My ministry is to serve others with my psychic readings, my healing sessions, and to hold energetically safe spaces for those who are processing and releasing grief from trauma, and by officiating joyful ceremonies that bring people together in celebration and love. If you'd like to know more, head on over to my website and check out my foundational creed of Reverend Jane Garrity. And now, my roadmap. My healing roadmap is something I learned through the patterns of my awakening journey and has been helping me to find pieces of my personal puzzle. For those looking for inner freedom from their trauma, grief, and abandonment, the only way to achieve it is from learning about ourselves from the inside out and be willing to change our own behaviors. It is a solo journey of self-discovery through remembrance. I've had clients come to me for healings as well as comment on my social media videos that they say they try to separate their trauma from their lives. The reality, though, is that when we want to put our trauma into a box and tuck it away someplace, that will only continue to lead us to repeat the patterns of avoidance and denial through self-abandonment. The truth is that we must actually face the painful parts of ourselves and learn how to release them so that we're able to live a truthful and authentic life with full awareness in our unique wholeness. This is what leads us to emotional liberation and inner freedom, which in turn heals humanity. What I've observed through my early years of psychic healing work is that we all have unconscious belief systems rooted in shame, whether it's from religion, society, our upbringing, our experiences with abuse and trauma. It has planted seeds that, when left unattended, grow like choking vines and weeds within our foundation of self. It isn't until we decide to uproot them and tend to our own soil and rebuild a foundation grounded instead in self-worth, dignity, love, and belonging that we can be on the path to inner freedom, which I have discovered is a practice, one that needs developing so that we can acquire the essential skills we need for emotional resilience by learning compassion for ourselves first. My ministry is about sharing my roadmap, providing personal readings and psychic healings, teaching the tarot as a tool for our personal path to self, which offers intuitive skill building, learning how the universe works, and offers spiritual guidance. Becoming a reverend isn't the finish line for me, it's simply another beginning. My hope is that the work I share through Inner Heart Healing Ministry helps others reconnect with themselves, trust their own intuition, and discover that healing isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about remembering who you've always been. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, join my email community, or explore the blog I linked below. Also, my Substack, where I have changed that and I'm using it more of like journal entries and thought reflections so that you can follow me on everywhere and get something a little bit different. Let's go ahead and pull a card. I'm going to teach the tarot also throughout my ministry. And a lot of people don't understand what tarot really is. And what it is the story of the soul's journey on their path to healing, awakening, and enlightening. No, it's not Satan. The tarot, and I'll do a separate video on this, so stay tuned, is actually a tool. It's a communication tool. And it is built from multiple different universal languages. And once we start learning the languages, we can start actually building the practice. And the way I began, just pulled one card every morning, read the book, and really just learned what each of the symbols, what the meanings were. There's numerology, and there is the elements, there's astrology, everything is in here. And so when we learn it as a path to healing, it is really just an amazing support and tool that we can use along our journey. So first, I like to start with ritual. And so what I like to do is I ground my deck. And what I do is I imagine my deck grounded all the way down through the earth. And then I will say, hello, Supreme Being. Will you please bless this deck and this card pull today for my audience and for me throughout this ordainment announcement? Thank you. And then I will also even call in my ancestors or spirit guides. Please come into this card pull today and help me to intuitively understand the meaning of these cards. And then we pull a card. You know, you can shuffle, wait till one falls out. You can cut the deck, not cut the deck. It always depends on where your energy is in that day. Today we're cutting the deck. So this one is Two of Swords. This is really about finding balance within the mind. And so when I'm taking a look at like the energy of this, Swords is about the mind. It's the air element. And with these two crows, they're like kind of attacking her, but she's blindfolded. What if she just took off her dang blindfold? So I guess that's kind of fitting for this message today too, in announcing my ordainment is I'm taking off the blindfolds, I'm taking off the bumpers and getting going on this new direction and journey. So until next time, take good care of your heart.